You may have heard comparisons like these before.
These two religions, Islam and Mormonism, share shocking, almost eerie similarities.
Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, claimed to be a prophet of God just like Muhammad.
This is exactly how Joseph Smith did it, right? Joseph Smith is the same way. He's like, oh, I have a revelation.
Islam is nothing but medieval Mormonism.
Wait, we've seen this guy before, haven't we?
We begin our prayer, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In this video, we'll discuss two main things. Firstly, comparing Mormonism to Islam and Joseph Smith to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is ridiculous. And since it is a ridiculous comparison, who is trying to push this low IQ comparison? Low-tier Christian apologists. Quick disclaimer, I have no intention of aggressively attacking Mormons in this video. I've never heard a single Mormon be disrespectful towards Islam, so why attack them because some low IQ clowns are trying to pit us against each other? However, I do not believe Mormonism to be true, so I will be pointing some of those things out. Also, Christians, I'm not here to attack you, I just want you to think critically on what you get fed. Don't be brain dead fanboys of these guys. Do your research and see what is actually true. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button. To begin with point number 1, Mormons are the Qadianis of Christianity. Mormonism is an 1800s religion made in the United States. The 1800s were a great time to start an offshoot splinter group from a bigger religion. You have Qadianis, you have Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Baha'is, freaking Christian Science, which has nothing to do with science other than the fact that they don't believe in the Trinity. All of them generally center around a key figure from the 1800s who came to tell the world that they have something new to offer that nobody before them knew. So if you put your brain cells together, it will make sense to compare all of these key figures from the 1800s with each other. For example, Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, started in the US. Ghulam Mirza Ahmad, the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement, started in India. And Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, started in Iran. All three of them are splinter groups of the major religion of their locality. All three of them claimed they got revelation from the Creator as a sort of messianic figure of their pre-existing religions. All three of these guys are from a similar time period when secularism, the European Enlightenment, industrialization, colonization, and Western imperialism were highly influential in their societies, albeit in different ways. There are so many political, historical, and social commonalities and differences that can be discussed. Comparing these splinter groups with Islam is like saying, hey look, it's the University of Oxford, one of the best and oldest universities in the world, founded over 900 years ago, with traditions, architecture, and history going back many centuries. So why not compare it with Lalukit University, established in 2025 in my imagination. Lalukit University is an amazing place. You have brilliant architecture, rich local traditions, marathon running, a swimming pool, the likes that Oxford can never have. Now I hope you get the point. If I want to force a comparison between the University of Oxford and Lalukit University, I'm sure I can find enough generic overlap to make a comparison video that the Cambridge boys can salivate over. And that's how all comparisons between Islam and Mormonism appear to look like, especially when performed by graduates of the Crossdressers Academy of Christian Apologetics, who have all contracted a very unique virus that I call the anti-Islam delusional syndrome.
AIDS! What a beautiful word, AIDS!
But brother, I told you to change delusional to derangement. Why don't you listen to me, huh? So to try to understand why these hack apologists compare Islam with Mormonism, let's really zoom into their worldview to understand what minds may lie underneath the surface. See, Christianity just has a very self-defeating concept of God. For example, when baby Jesus was helplessly crying, was he fully God at the time? Can this kid who can't feed himself, change himself, or even speak be considered the all-knowing, all-powerful, self-sustaining creator of the universe?
Did Jesus get hungry? As God, no. As man, yes. Did Jesus die? As God, no. As man, yes. Jesus has two natures.
Yeah, that doesn't help answer anything. This made-up concept the Christians are referring to is called the hypostatic union, which means Jesus has to be fully God and fully human at the same time. Look how they try to explain this concept. Jesus will forever be the God-man, fully God and fully human. Two distinct natures in one person. Jesus' humanity and divinity are not mixed, but are united without loss of separate identity. The doctrine of the hypostatic union is an attempt to explain how Jesus could be both God and man at the same time. It is ultimately, though, a doctrine we are incapable of fully understanding. It is impossible for us to fully understand how God works. And there you have it. Don't bother making sense of these contradictions, because God is a mystery. Since Christianity decided to mix Roman paganism with monotheism, Islam came with a far superior concept than this elementary level confusion, stating that God is one. There are no sons, or half-gods, or triune complexities. Nobody can limit God. Nobody can harm God. And nobody can increase or decrease from God. This is why Islam makes more sense. Mormons show up in the 1800s and start preaching that Jesus is God. The Father is a separate God. The Holy Spirit is a separate God. And if you're a good Mormon, perhaps you can become a god as well and rule over your planet. So what kind of idiotic comparison can you possibly make between your fringe group and the far more logical outlook of Islam?
Islam and Mormonism seem to portray God with some pretty human-like features. In Islam, even though scholars will literally bend over backward to insist that God's attributes are unlike anything that we know, the Quran still describes God with terms like hands, eyes, shins, and feet.
Yeah, and you believe that this God came down on earth as a human, relied on and begged from others to survive, and then was beaten up and hung on the cross.
In Mormon theology, God is fully embodied, interacting with the physical world like any one of us. So in Mormonism, God is literally human in form with a tangible body. What's striking here is how both Islam and Mormonism make God much more relatable by turning him into someone who could almost you could run into at the supermarket. Whether it's uncreated body parts in Islam or the actual human body in Mormonism, both religions shift away from the idea of a spiritual, incorporeal God and give us a God that's way more like us.
You know the kid who just scribbles all over the page and the parents are like, wow, what a great job you did. And the kid then grows up thinking they have talent on things that they really don't. Yeah, don't do that as a parent, because those kids then grow up to become this guy. How are you comparing the Mormon concept of God with Islam when you're the one who believes the impossibility of God becoming flesh?
While God did take on a human body in the person of Jesus Christ, that was a one-time, unique act of incarnation. God became man contingently, not because he's always had a body, essentially, but because it was part of his divine plan to save us.
Shabash, merechite! It's not a contradiction because the Christian God chose to contradict himself contingently. I didn't know contradictions were contingent on consent. Hey, I'm a really good force for humanity, but I get an itch on my crotch once in a while, after which I willingly decide to become a maniac and destroy the lives of millions. But it's all contingent on the itch on my crotch, so I'm still a very good person. But you still didn't address his main point. He doesn't have one! Look at these sources. Genius Abu Tariqul says Islam portrays the creator of the universe as some man-like figure because it mentions things like hands and eyes. So let's read the first verse and see if the Quran is trying to visualize Allah as a man-like figure. Some among the Jews said, Allah is tight-fisted. May their fists be tied and they be condemned for what they said. Rather, he is open-handed, giving freely as he pleases. Oh my God! God, look! Allah is open-handed. That means he has a right hand with 5 fingers, just like us humans. If that's not what it means, why'd the Quran use the word hand, huh? Look, here's another one, Surah 48, verse 10. Surely those who pledge allegiance to you, O Prophet, are actually pledging allegiance to Allah. Allah's hand is over theirs. See, no person would read this and imagine the Quran is trying to say that Allah has a physical human-like hand, which is also why no Islamic scholar has come to that conclusion. But our boy is no normal person. He operates at a much higher IQ than that. So we have to assume this verse is saying that when you give allegiance, a hand probably swoops down from the sky and gets placed over yours. In fact, our guy is operating at such a high IQ, he even has a verse here that doesn't have any quote-unquote body part in it. Now you may think, why didn't our boy Abu Tariq do his research or at least try to honestly engage with this topic before making a whole video about this? It's because he didn't investigate anything. He just plagiarized the same idiotic points his Hijrah godfather spreads. Remember this explanation? It is impossible for us to fully understand God. Oh yeah, we'll only use that as a cope to cover our bizarre buy one get two free Trinitarian concept of God, but when it actually comes to the Islamic supra-rational concept of the creator of the universe, oh, Islam just thinks God is a man with hands and eyes and feet just like ours. Understand this very clearly. Islam's explanation is supra-rational, which means it's beyond the understanding of human limits. Or in Islamic terminology, ilm al-ghayb. The Trinity is not supra-rational. It's just irrational, because it isn't beyond the understanding of human limits. It's just contradictory to basic reasoning, that the creator of the universe became this.
In both Islam and Mormonism, we get a God who seems to switch allegiances like he's picking a new favorite baseball team. In the Old Testament, God is clearly the God of the Hebrews. He even forms a covenant with the Israelites, sticks with them through thick and thin, and then sends prophets to guide them. But then, in both Islam and Mormonism, God seems to go through a bit of a midlife crisis, almost. In Islam, he suddenly decides to become the God of the Arabs.
Oh, I didn't know Islam says Allah is only the God of the Arabs. I could have sworn I read something different in chapter 1 of the Quran.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Lord of the worlds! Why, I thought he was only the Lord of the Arabs. If only there was a verse in here that clearly says Allah is only for the Arabs. Oh look, here it is! I was sent only to the lost sheep of... Oh, Bass, what's going on here?
In the New Testament, it's the same God sending the Hebrew Messiah to the Hebrews, and of course, the land of the Hebrews, Israel. Everything seems very consistent. God is staying true to his covenant, continuing his story with the Hebrew people.
Then why the hell are you following it? How does your Bengali-Italian hybrid fit you in with the Hebrews that Jesus was sent to? Why is the God of the Hebrews opening up his religion to Italian Abu Tariq over here? According to this guy, God didn't give a damn about 99.9% of humanity, including Jesus. See that little red box in the middle of the map? If you're not from there, you're as good as dead to the Christian God. So what should the ancient Chinese or ancient Indians be doing before Jesus? What should your non-Hebrew ancestors be doing? In Islam, Allah sent over 124,000 prophets throughout humanity to different regions of the world. The truth was never only meant for 0.1% of humanity, because Allah does not abandon his people.
But in Islam and Mormonism, we see a God who just abandons his people, making it all seem a little bit too convenient and more than a little dubious. So apparently God likes to randomly switch sides? Yeah, that definitely checks out. No.
You know, I'm the one fasting, but he's the one starved of nutrients that his brain badly needs. Now I can keep going with idiotic comparisons made by Abu Tariq and his ilk. Oh, Muhammad was polygamous and so was Smith. Muhammad had a book, so did Smith. Both Muhammad and Smith founded a religion before GTA 6 came out.
Look at Muhammad. Look at Joseph Smith. They're not okay. They were frauds.
So here's the question. Why? Why lie about Islam in order to make this very strange comparison with Mormonism while ironically ignoring your own flawed ideology? Especially when there's so many more similarities between Mormonism and Christianity. Both actually give the Bible some authority. Both have rituals like baptism, although they have a slightly different concept. In fact, baptism is a pretty touchy subject across Christianity. They appear to be the only two religions in the world that believe Jesus is God, and founders of both religions claim to have had a supernatural experience with Jesus, which kickstarted their new religions. Well, I don't know if you want to consider Mormonism a separate religion, since it is just an offshoot. So why the idiotic comparisons with Islam? Because these apologists are terrified with the rise of Islam. A decade or two ago, however, some random research published that Mormonism was the fastest growing religion. Whether this is true or not, I have no clue. But these same Christian groups jumped on the news to spread panic amongst its people. So to appease their non-critical thinking fanboys, which are a minute percent of actual Christians, by the way, these guys probably thought, hey, we're scared of Islam, we're scared of Mormonism too, let's try to kill two birds with one stone, no matter how bad the argument is. And it looks like they're brain-dead fanboys like the comparison. I have barely seen anyone outside of these cross-dressing apologists make these comparisons. Well, there is an exception. You can always count on the purposeless X's to jump on the bandwagon. See, these ex-Mormons know their base consists of many of the brain-dead fanboys that also watch our boys here. So these ex-Mormons know it's a jackpot for them to compare Islam and Mormonism, since they know their base also hates Islam. For these murtads though, they're like, sapna pura ho gaya, koi gori bandi mere saath 2 ghante baith ke baat karegi, hai, mere chhakke chhut gaye, hai. Yeah, brother. Oh, yeah, never mind. I'll tell you later.
I think the only hope in this case would be for evangelization of these Muslim immigrants, to bring them to Christ, to share the gospel with them, and thereby to help them come to know Christ and to leave Islam. But that is a very, very hard task because they are so deeply entrenched in their religious worldview.
No, it's just your worldview is not that good.